Last presentation for the day. We made a little development as a company where I work, so I will introduce first where I come from and then what we did. This is us. I work as head of engineering at Facebook. I'm in charge of 33 engineers and drafters. We do the design work at this company. We produce multi-family homes for the Swedish market. Our turnover is 100 million euros each year, and we reuse volumetric elements that are prefabricated in a factory before they are delivered to site. And on-site activities are mostly assembly. So the factory is currently running at a takt time of 60 minutes, which means that one volumetric element exits from our factory every 60 minutes. Struggling to get to 55, which is more difficult than we would like to imagine. Lean operations since 2009, and that involves the entire company, not only production, but also the administrative phases, and that includes design. So I work as manager for a department where lean is our operations. So as part of lean training, we were commissioned to do this. We played a game, and this is Lego, of course. We have an experience game, which is to demonstrate tact for us. And there was a whole set of team that was supposed to produce different products, and the products are the ones that you see to the right. So 7 to 8 people participated, and we were busy for half a day and producing Lego products. Then came the reflection from my design team. Yeah, this is nice if you work in the factory. It doesn't help us at all because our situation is different. So there was a lot of discussion about that. Is this really what we should be taught? Some people were really, aggravated about this. So my reaction as the manager was, right, so let's make a better game then. Just the same reaction as some of you pose to your students. Let's make a game that actually explains what we do. So what do we need to show? First thing is that we don't know everything. So when you run production, you almost always know what to do. You don't know how to do it, but you know what to do. Here we don't know what. We also need to illustrate that iterative work. It has been a recurring issue during the morning here, that iterative work is part of the design process. And we also need to illustrate specialization. Right. So how do we do that? Well, limited resources. We took the game that we had and tweaked it. So first thing was we hid part of the instructions. So those were released during the game by introducing action cards. So now you can lift 1, now you can lift 2, and it will happen. Then on the action cards, we also wrote something that's very, very often that it happens in the design process. The client changes his mind. Now you have to remove one piece of Lego and exchange it for another color. And it has to happen on all the products, even the ones that you already finished. So those were part of our setup to just show that this is not as easy. When we did this, the first time we produced 24 products during 10 minutes. And when we played the design ER game version, we produced 10. And they were batch delivered. So everyone were delivered at the same time. So these were the action cards to the right, and we clocked it each time around. So first of all, of course, we played ourselves. And then we thought, this is not enough, because we know the answer. So we sent to the senior design team, the one who are leading the entire company. We want to play with you. And they were up for the challenge, which was very nice. So we had the manager for the factory, we had the manager for the logistics, we had the construction site manager, all of them joined forces and played the game. And these are the reflections. First up is I should never have said this is easy. Now I'm behind all the time. And that came after he was commissioned to change all yellow to blue. So all 10 right now. And then the first one that came is how are we supposed to know what product to work on? There is no sequence. And there is no sequence. So you have to live with that. You have to work with that. And then the one on the bottom left is what did you say? What was the change order? Because nothing was written, and it was just read from the action cards, and that's very authentic to the design situation. You just get a phone call from your client, hello, I want this, and there's no, hello, what is it exactly that you want? And then on the bottom right, we have the client or the customer read the change orders. And this is from a lady. She's head of administration. She's very orderly. Really think the customer can shut up now. We have enough to do. And you know, if you've been in the design process, this happens. Just away with it. Some reflections then on the function of the game as a game, as illustrating this difficulty that we have. One of the things is that it's extremely difficult to learn between the rounds. So when you play a time planning game, you learn between the rounds and become increasingly better. This is much more difficult because the round changes. So it's a new game each time. So how are you supposed to improve? You have to look at what are we improving. So that's one of the things that we took away from this learning experience. So what we accomplished was to make a game that actually illustrated these three things. It fits in a suitcase, and we can use the resources that we already had. The original game is free to buy, and if anyone would like the tweaked version, just contact me, and you will get it. It takes 45 minutes to complete, which is within the time frame what a leadership team can accomplish. So that's good. And the guys that you see here on the right are my colleagues and co-creators of the game. So, thank you.
Questions?
I'm Mike Ottola with Boulder Associates. I do consulting work for them. The game looks great. Can you talk about what you did in between the rounds? Do you need a facilitator to teach lean principles, or what that was like?
Yeah, that's a good question. One of the things that we wanted to show was to show the lean coaches that we have in the company how difficult this is. Because they come from Volvo, Astra, they come from the manufacturing industry. And I took the role this time as being their coach. So we had a reflection between each round. And it was just a simple, what do you think about this? So I think anyone in this group can easily do it.
I'm very interested in this case because the teach for the students or even professionals is quite interesting to illustrate concepts and so on. Have you some site with available information to other people applying or how it sees this same way, or even if the paper is possible to repeat this game?
Oh, that's a good question. What we did was to make it very visual. So we took the original game and just wrote the instructions on it. So I don't have a collection of it other than there. But of course, it could be made public. I'm not interested in making money in this.
So I got the impression that this is a defensive game, defending your from advance by consultants. So what would be an offensive game going towards solutions?
That's a very good question. Yes, it is a defense. So we developed it as an answer to something that we were projected to. I would like to do as an offensive game would be maybe to take what has been presented here earlier today and make a game out of that. So it would be really nice to have that as more of a teaching experience. This is more of a reaction to a situation that we were in. So yes.
Can I ask about any technical information about the development of this game? Do you have what technology are you using for development? And do you have any information also about the usability of your games? And did you check if it did end user and for example, what was the results?
The development of the game was hands-on in our working space. So what we did was just gather people and do it as a gradual improvement. So very much to the avocado cycle. See what happens, try the game, see what happens, try the game, and reflect between that. So that's the thing. And then we recorded that process. So it's just written down in an Excel spreadsheet the steps that we went through. All the action cards are there, and it's just a complementary thing to an original game. I really think that you could mess up any time planning game using this method.
Koshi from IT Madras. My question is regarding are you only measuring that time or are there other parameters you measure as a part of it?
Yeah. When we come into the design phase, I'm not really into measuring the takt time at this stage. First of all, takt time is difficult as a concept because iterative processes makes it very difficult to have it assign any specific value. So we did not measure takt time. We just set the time. This we're supposed to produce 10 products, and we'll see the time that we get. Yeah.
Any other parameters can be included in this as an application or operations?
Maybe if it was an offensive game, this was a defense, but if it was made into something that was supposed to be a learning experience for an offensive approach, teach design methods, yes, then I would measure.
Questions?
Hi, I was thinking about an offensive game just that I had was, whether that would take on a sort of more creative sort of further content loading. But then I also had a question about if there was any idea of taking the production game you started with the takt time game and the design game and integrating them together to, I was just curious if there was a good example of that.
Yes, thank you for the question. It's a good one. In essence, that's what happened because all of us were commissioned to play the takt time planning game. So what we wanted to do was to provide a contrast, and I think that we succeeded in doing that. But it could be made more deliberate, of course, so we could be played in sequence. We didn't do that.
Okay, thank you very much, Elena.